What's going on, my little piglets? It's your BFF Pork Chop here, and I'm coming at you with another installment of Storytime with Pork Chop pizza delivery stories. This will be probably the last of 3. I got like 2 more for you after this because I'm putting in my 2 weeks. So, or maybe I can just tell you horror stories of just past jobs that I've had. Haven't decided yet. Let me know down below. Do you want me to continue this series, or do you want me to end it whenever I leave the pizza delivery industry for the 4th time in my life? Anyway, so I haven't posted one in a couple of weeks, and actually just last week, and that's me. I was having a little bit of a crisis mentally, so I was like, I won't post that many videos this week. I'll probably do the pick 'em and then call it good. So we just did that. But there's been a couple of stories that have been a little interesting, to say the least. One didn't happen to me. It happened to another delivery driver last week. And then also I had something happen to me, I think 2 weeks ago or last week, I can't remember. But timeline doesn't really matter for this story. But anyway, so last week I had a delivery driver compadre friend that worked the same shift with me last Tuesday, and he couldn't find his delivery bag. We get a bag at the beginning of our shift, you know, that has like small bills and some change in it, just in case people want change. People rarely ever want the change, they want the bills though. But so we're given a bag at the beginning of the shift, and you have to get one, otherwise you get charged for it. If you don't get one, I think that's the politics behind that. But he couldn't find it. He grabbed it, couldn't find it. So he, of course, retraced his steps, and he's like, "It's been in my car this whole time. There's no way. There's no freaking way that I lost it, because it's been in my car. That's it." So, his entire shift, he goes without this bag. And then so finally, I'm cashing out for the night, getting my bag taken care of. And this guy walks in with the flashlight in one hand and the bag and something else in his other hand. And he's like, "Hey, did y'all lose a bag?" And we're like, "Yes, one of our delivery drivers lost that hours ago. Oh my gosh, thank you." And then he handed me a little black bag to go with it, like a little case. And he's like, "I found this too." And it turns out it was his insulin, because he's a diabetic. So not only did he lose the bag, he lost his insulin. And we're like, "Oh, damn, dude, I'm glad that you found that." And he's like, "Yeah, man, fuck the bag." He's like, "If I would have lost his insulin, I probably would have died." So he thought about it, and he said, "You know what? Both of these were inside my backpack, inside of my car. Somebody went through my car. So somebody, while it was parked in the back, got into his car because it was unlocked and went through his backpack." And so he said, that's the only place it was. It was in that backpack in my car. And somebody took that and his diabetic thing, because it was in a zip case, so maybe they thought that there was something in it, maybe like a gun or something else. But no, it was his insulin stuff. So I guess they felt guilty and they just dropped it where they were and called it good. But he opens up the bag and the $20 is gone. And so technically he gets to have $20 taken out of his paycheck the next pay period, which it's happened to me before, being an assistant manager up there. But I mean, that's just what you do. The restaurant's got to cover their own ass, just like you got to cover your own ass. And I was like, "Man, I'm so sorry that happened." He's like, "It's not your fault." I'm like, "It's not my fault, but that still sucks. Like, I wouldn't want to be in your position at all. That just blows." And he's like, "It is what it is. Luckily, I got, the bag back, and, that wasn't more, pretty much. Because the credit card receipts were still in there, so they didn't want his written down tips. They wanted to take the whole entire bank. So he got charged, and I thought that was really shitty. But, like I said, you got to do what you got to do, and that's what the restaurant had to do. So that is story number 1. Story number 2 was my GPS glitched out on me. And ever since I got this new iOS update, the maps is ridiculous. Like, I'll be going down the street, but the pinpoint of the address on the maps is like in the alleyway practically. So anytime that I like pull up in front of this person's house, or just a customer's house in general, it is supposed to tell me arrived when I get to their front door practically. So like, for example, if I were to stop at this house, arrived. So that's how that would work. But since the new update, it's glitching and saying like it's like in the back of the house or the alleyway, and that's not right. That's not okay. So that's not how that works. So it's telling me to like loop back around this address. So I loop back around and I say screw it, and I park on the last house on the end. It was the last house on the right. It wasn't the last house on the left. That would have been even scarier. But this one, I parked on the right, and it was between two houses in this residential area that's on a main busy street. And I parked there, and I'm getting the pizza out of my back seat because I'm like, screw it, I'll just walk, because it's like 3 doors down. There you go. Not last house on the left, but it is 3 doors down. And so I'm going through my back seat and everything, and this big fat guy. Now I'm a big guy, and you can't call somebody fat unless you are fat, and I are fat. So there you go. So he walks up and he's like, "What the fuck you doing?" And he's got his headlights on his truck and everything, just like walking up to me, like bowing up to me. And I turn around and he notices that I have my pizza delivery shirt on. And he looks at me and he kind of stops. And I was like, "Oh, is this the address, right?" He's like, "Nah, man, that's 3 doors down." And I was like, "Oh, okay." I was like, "Do you mind if I park here and then just walk on the sidewalk to go to this third house?" And he said, "Nah, man, you parking there, that's really suspect." He's like, "I can't have you parking there. Somebody stole a battery out of my fucking trailer last week." And I said, "Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry." And he's like, "But you can park in my driveway." And I was like, "Well, that's even weirder. I'm not going to park in your driveway. If it's either your side of the house or nowhere around your house. So we're just going to call it good." And so I park, I get in my car and act like I'm going through his driveway. And then I just say, "Nope." And I whip back around and park 3 doors down. And it's on a busy street, so I kind of parked halfway on the sidewalk and halfway in the street, turn my hazards on, because that's what you're supposed to do in that instance. And so I get there, and it's this little blonde girl. I'm a happily married man, by the way. Just giving you that advisory right there. I'm a happily married man. She was a very good-looking blonde girl, wearing nothing but a white t-shirt and leggings that were just very, what's the word I'm looking for? Very form-fitting. Let's just say that. And so it was anyway, she was good looking. And so she's like, "Oh, hi, how are you?" And I'm like, "Oh, just working. What about you?" She's like, "Oh, it's my day off." And I'm like, "Oh, well, lucky you get a day off, just like, must be nice, just haha." And she was like, "Yeah." She's like, I had to work like 4 days in a row this week, so I finally got a day off. I'm like, "You know what? You deserve a day off." And so she grabs the receipt and she's looking at it, like studying it, like it's like the bar exam, just like staring at it. And she signs her name and she's like, "I don't know what's a good tip." And I said, "Oh, well, the average person tips 15 to 20%. And so she looked at the ticket, and her thing was over like $30, and she's like, "Is $2 enough?" And I was like, "You know what?" I said, "It's not quite 15%. I was like, "But I'll take it. Any tip's a good tip." She's like, "Oh, no, let me give you more. So like on a $30 ticket, she gave me, I think she gave me like $6. So I'm like, "Okay, that's I'll take that. That's more like it." And so she's like, "Oh, well, here you go, and thank you so much. Enjoy your tip. I hope you have a good night," and all this other stuff. And I'm like, "Oh, well, you too." And she's like, sorry, once again, I just don't know what a good tip is. And I'm like, okay, so I educate her. I'm like, usually 15 to 20% of the bill. That's a good tip. That's a reasonable tip. If somebody provides a service, you know, it's about 15 to 20%. That's what I preach, and it's got me this far in life. So there you go. Anyway, so guys, that's the end of the 2 stories that I have. I do actually, okay, I spoke too soon. I am gonna post one of these around Halloween, and it's gonna be a edited story time with Pork Chop. It's gonna be edited because it's a horror story, a pizza delivery horror story that happened to me a couple of years ago. And I tried to do it last year, but I ran out of time, so I'd really like to do it this year, and hopefully that'll come into fruition. But it's a very interesting story, and I think you guys are really gonna dig it. So anyway, guys, do you have any stories about your job? You got any horror stories? Maybe I can share them on the next story time with Pork Chop, and maybe this could be a story time with Pork Chop and his piglets. I don't know. What do you guys think? And just hope you guys are just having a good week. It's hump day. I'm recording this on Tuesday, but I'm uploading it on Wednesday. So hope you guys are through that hurdle, and I hope you guys are just gonna have a just a kick-ass day going forward, and a good week ahead, and a good weekend. And always remember, my little piglets, Colin Pork Chop loves y'all the most. So y'all take it easy, guys, and I'll see y'all next time. Bye, guys.